Okay, welcome to Grasshoppers. Thank you for coming along. Those of you who are here now, or those of you who are going to watch later on, Grasshoppers, as you know, is year 1 and year 2, and my name is Mr. Bounds. This meeting is being recorded, so as I've said, if you keep your cameras off, unless you want to be featured on YouTube, and there's a chat box, you can add questions as we go along if you want to, or you can ask me at the very end. Okay, so as I say, my name is Mr. Bounds. I'm the year 1 and 2 class teacher here. I'm also the deputy head, and as well as myself, there's also Miss Bergman-Rowe, who works in our class, Mrs. Brailsford, who works in our class on a Tuesday afternoon, Mrs. Molyneux, who works in our class on a Thursday afternoon, and you hopefully will know some of those faces, or you will get to know them as you see them. But generally speaking, if you have anything that you need to speak to us about, come and speak to me about it, or drop me an email. There's an email address later on for you, but if possible, come and see me in the morning or after school when I'm dropping off at the gate. So I've got to just go through the health stuff to begin with. I'm sure you know lots of this already, but anybody who has any of the coronavirus symptoms, you need to be kept off school and get them a test. The coronavirus symptoms are temperature, a new continuous cough, or a loss of sense of taste or smell. So let the school know if you're keeping them off for that reason, through the office or by phone. And if they are self-isolating because they're off for that reason, then again, there will be work put on them for Google Classroom from the day after you report their absence. So if there's nobody in the class off, then there won't be any work going up on Google Classroom. But if there is somebody off, then the work goes up on Google Classroom for people to do, and obviously the people who are in school don't need to do that. Okay, so here is an example of a sort of typical timetable that we work to in year 1 and 2. It's subject to change, of course. Every week's different in a way, but as you can see, we've got maths and English every day, usually in the morning. We've got and when we come in, we're spending time to help with the children's well-being. We're doing some exercise first thing in the morning. There's often yoga or sort of more sort of a workout kind of thing, or a dance, something fun to get people moving about and get them feeling positive early in the morning. PE, as you can see, we'll talk about that a bit more later, but PE is on a Tuesday with multiflex, and on a Friday. So to help us staying safe, as you already have been doing, and thank you for that, please send the children in the PE kits on Tuesdays and Fridays, and they'll just wear them all day. I'll talk a little bit more about that later on. Okay, we have I'll talk a bit more about the phonics later on as well. There is milk available at morning break time. It's not free like it was in reception for those of you who just moved up from reception to year 1. And if you would like to get some milk, it's available through Cool Milk, and speak to the office about how to get that, okay, to register your child for that. Okay, you will be already familiar with Class Dojo. Hopefully you've all received you all could just carry on using the same logins that you had last year, but if any of you have had problems accessing it, please let me know and I can help you out with that. There's a list there of the kind of things we give Class Dojos for, but it's by no means all of them. There's lots more than that. Yeah, that's, the children are very motivated by that, I'm pleased to say, and I've already been given out lots and lots. I think we're on something like 800 for the whole class already, which is brilliant. So yeah, that's about logging into Class Dojo. We've also got the traffic light system in our class, as there is in every class in the school. So every child starts the day on green, and the behaviour is, if the behaviour is as we expect, then they remain on the green. But if they shouldn't be doing quite the right things, not quite making the right choices, then they're given a warning, and then if they continue to do that, they may be moved on to the yellow. If you are moved onto the yellow, there's always the opportunity. That doesn't mean you're there for the rest of the day. There's always the opportunity for you to go back onto the green, to get yourself back onto the green by the end of the day. And for more serious problems, we have the orange and the red. And if you are on the green at the end of the day, you get a dojo point automatically for that. Okay, so lots of dojo points have already been given out for that. But it's just the same as what the children are used to when they were in year 1 or when they were in reception last year. Okay, we've made a few changes to the way we're doing things because of the way we've come back to school being highly unusual. So as I mentioned before, we're doing an exercise to start the day to help the children with their well-being and help them, get the day off to a positive and active start. There's lots of yoga. We're doing mindfulness. We were doing it every day at the beginning of term, but we're just doing it as and when it's needed at the teacher's discretion. They're just short videos or short audio recordings, just a little brain break for the children to relax. We've done a lot of lessons already on the importance of hand washing and on staying safe, and we'll continue to do that. The break time games, obviously, there's some games that we can't really do anymore that we used to do at break time. So we've been showing the children and teaching the children some particular games they could play. We've also got some other schemes that we're talking about, Heart Smart, which is all about being kind to yourself and being kind to others, and the Let's Begin Again program, which is a specific program of stories relating to children coming back to school and talking about their concerns and worries. And overall, we kind of, are changing things so that we can respond to the class's needs as we need to. Okay, we started a topic which is all about, it's called To Infinity Beyond, but it's kind of more like a history topic, really, looking at main things that have happened in the sort of timeline of space travel, going back to the first rocket being launched up to very recently, and looking at significant people along the way, like Tim Peake, and he's the main one we're going to be looking at. But also we're looking at Yuri Gagarin and Valentina Tereshkova, who was the first woman in space, who's there on the bottom right there. And also learning about the sun, learning sort of facts about the sun in a science approach to that, learning about the planets, but also learning a bit more about our planet, and specifically about continents and oceans in this particular topic. As always, we are looking at the global goals, or the sustainable development goals, and have planned the topic around that. And you can see there some of the ones that are addressed in this space topic, but also the main focus for this term, given the circumstances that we're in, and the fact that the children have had a very unusual year, is all about good health and well-being, both staying safe and also about looking after the children's mental well-being. Okay, in English, here's some of the books that we're going to be doing. It's by no means all of them, but some of the books that we're going to be reading as a whole class here. So we've already done most of the Flyaway Alphabet. We've started Silly Billy, and I'm reading to the children James and the Giant Peach, because we always, in order to try and encourage a love of reading, so I always try and share books with the class that were my favorites when I was that kind of age. So James and the Giant Peach was one of my favorites when I was all those years ago, when I was that young. But a lot of it is whole class guided reading stuff that we're doing, where we read a few pages. So Silly Billy, for example, we read a couple of pages, and then we spend quite a lot of time doing sort of reading comprehension tasks based around that, both spoken and also written, and also reading. So it'll take us typically, we're probably up to half term to read that book, which is a fairly short book, but just we go into it quite a lot in depth. And again, I've chosen that one because it's about a child who worries, and trying to link it in with the children coming back to school who may have concerns in that area. For handwriting, from the start of year one, we tried to teach the children to write their lowercase letters in the cursive style, so that by the year two kind of time, end of year two kind of time, that they're ready to start joining their letters. So we've done A and C already, year ones, and we'll just work our way through those letters in a particular order, not in alphabetical order. But I'll keep you informed about that through the half-termly newsletter about which ones we've done, and I'm sure the children will talk about it. They've been very enthusiastic. The year ones have been very enthusiastic for it so far, really getting on board and really trying very hard to do it, as they do every year. And the year twos, they've already learnt those letters. There was a couple that we didn't do because of school closing, but we'll catch up on those. And they're now doing particular types of joins. So we haven't quite got onto the top joining letters, which are the hard ones, letters like O and R, which don't join at the bottom left. They join at the top. At the moment, we're doing letters that diagonal joins that join at the bottom left. So, for example, ING, where they all meet. You don't have to change anything about the way you form that letter because they all should go together fairly naturally. Okay, I've talked a little bit about the guided reading already. We've got some parents who are coming and grandparents who are coming in to read with the children, obviously at doing that in a safe way. And thanks to those who volunteered to do that. If there's anybody else who would like to volunteer, we could do with some more people, particularly on Thursdays and Fridays. So if anybody's free for about half an hour, the last half hour of the day, then please get in contact. All you do is you come in and you spend a few 5 minutes, let's say, reading with a kid on Bug Club on an iPad, and then you rotate and go to the next child. But it will be very helpful if anybody's available to come in and volunteer to help us with that. We're busy doing phonics assessments at the moment, and year one will be getting some flashcards sent home with some particular sounds for the children to practice. Year twos, you will get a few of those as well, but it's more about spellings in year two. And hopefully you've all had a go at Bug Club now. I know the year two parents will have used it in year one. You were sent home a card last week. I'll go into Bug Club in a bit more detail later on. The recommendation is to try and read for 20 minutes with a grown-up. And I've said there about encouraging children to borrow from the library. The school library, we can't allow books to come home at the moment for obvious reasons. So the public libraries are open. So if you want other books to read, then I encourage you to visit those. But the school library, I can't allow books to come home at the moment. But we do have books in class that the children keep with them and in class, but we're not able to send those home just yet. Okay, so a bit more detail about Bug Club, which is an online learning tool, which every child has a login, and then they've got particular books which I've assigned to them. And as they go through it, there's questions, reading comprehension questions, very focused reading comprehension questions, which practice a range of different types of skills to aid the children's understanding. All the year one books have a read to me button at the bottom of the page in the middle, where if the child is struggling to read it, they can click on read to me, and then a voice will read that page aloud to them. And the same for the questions in the book. But wherever you see the bug logo, like that little bug logo that's at the top right of the screen, if you see a little circle with a bug logo, that means there's a quiz question on that page, a comprehension question for your child to answer. Okay, and they have been given to the children based upon the phonics that we are learning at the moment. So they're kind of personalized group of books that have been set for your children. Okay, you should hopefully have all had a card that came home last week with a username and a password on it. If you don't know them, then just please come and see me. And when you go into it, the books that the children have been allocated will be in the area called My Stuff that you can see on there. And I have assigned several books to each kid. So they can just work their way through those. They'll have a choice of 5 books typically. And then as they read more and answer more quiz questions, then they earn themselves those little coins that you can see in the treasure chest on the top right. And with that, they can go into My Rewards and they can buy stickers, play games, customize their page, all sorts of different things like that, build a tree house, lots of things like that. And the books that they've already read go into the area called My Library in case they want to read them again, which if they want to is great. Okay, next page. So we do phonics every day. The phonics screening happens in June 2021 for all the year 1 children. And because the year 2 children didn't do one in June this year because of the school closures, then they will be doing their one in after October half term. So what I will do as I go through the year, same as I always do, is I will give the children plenty of opportunity to practice and to give them opportunities to practice reading alien words and real words. So those words at the bottom left of the screen there are examples of alien words. So they're made up words, but using your knowledge of the sounds in them, you will be able to read those and pronounce them. Okay, we at the bottom right there, where the words are with the purple buttons, this showing one of the ways that we kind of sound out the words by putting buttons underneath for the different sounds in the words. I will send home, as I said, I will send home some. If there's particular sounds that your child doesn't know, then I can send home some flashcards. And again, I'm aware of the fact that phonics is often something that a lot of parents find confusing, and that's fine. So just come in and speak to me about anything you need to know about that, any support you need. But I will be sending home lots of things through the year, but again, personalised to your child for particular things for them to practice. Oh, sorry, one more thing on that. All the year 1 children have just started phase 4, which is reading and writing sounds with words with 4 sounds in it. So things like bump and melt and words like that. So that's what we're doing at the moment for all the year 1s. Year 2s are doing the phase 5 sounds and looking at alternate spellings. But again, I'll send home some stuff to do with that. The other spellings are the common exception words, which are the words that don't follow the rules of phonics. So there's a list there. It's also on the newsletter. So these are words that we'll be practicing in our phonics sessions and in general spelling, as well as teaching spelling rules, where we'll have a spelling rule each week. Okay. In maths, this term, again, because of the school closures, we're mainly doing the top 2 on there for this term, really focusing on understanding the number system. So with year 2s, that's all 2-digit numbers up to 99, being able to do 1 more, 1 less, 10 more, 10 less, and 2 more, 2 less, and those kind of things, and practicing that and really understanding the tens and units. The year 1s is very similar, but really only working with numbers up to 20 for now. They'll graduate onto bigger numbers as we go through the year. Okay, and the addition that we're doing will be simple stuff like that to begin with, just to make sure everyone's absolutely secure with all of that before we move on to anything more complicated. Because if they're not quite there with that, then there's no point moving them on to more complicated things. Okay, thank you to everybody who's done the homework that was set last Friday. Every Friday, I will put a task into Google Classroom to be completed by the following Wednesday. As much as possible, I will make it closely linked to what we've done in class that week, so the children won't find it that difficult or too difficult, and it won't be too much of a challenge for you to support them with it. Yeah, it will usually be maths. It won't always be maths, but most week it will be a maths task. Okay, just ask if it's something like it was this week to play a game, then just remember to go and add a comment underneath, so that's how I know that the homework's being completed. Okay, back onto PE again then. So outdoor session, weather permitting, we'll be outdoors on a Tuesday morning with Mr. Webb and the Multiflex team, and indoors on a Friday afternoon with me. Okay, it is obviously September now, but it's going to start getting colder. So so that we will continue to teach the PE outdoors so long as it's not raining or icy and dangerous. So it could potentially get cold. So the children mostly come in with jumpers or cardies anyway, so they're welcome to wear those on top of their PE kits. And as the weather gets colder, just think about leggings and tracksuit trousers to help them so they're not getting too cold. We'll also try and use the Golden Mile when we can to get out there for a bit of extra exercise, just to walk or run or jog around the Golden Mile when we can. Okay, a little bit there about some of the other stuff that we're doing. Obviously, we've got those other subjects that we teach. Mrs. Molyneux and me are doing a lot of PSHCE, which is kind of like health and citizenship and personal and social stuff. So we're doing a lot of that this term. Obviously about staying safe. RE with Mrs. Brailsford on a Tuesday. Science, we're doing this term, we're doing a little bit about weather, but mainly about materials this term, and computing and music. Okay, we also have a theme going across the school of No Outsiders, which is a way of teaching children about equality and about the Equality Act from 2010, about British values. So we have a series of books that we teach, which are age-appropriate texts, which help children to recognise and to be proud of the differences and the diversity in society, and to just basically send out that message of no outsiders, everyone belongs in our school. There's a thing there about pupil premium funding or free school meals. So if you are in any of those bullet points there, then contact the office. You may be entitled to free school meals, or come and see me if you want to about that. Okay, and they will be eligible for free school meals until the end of year 6, if that is the case. Okay. There's a School Spider. Our website runs on using a thing called School Spider. And if you download the app, it's a good way to stay in contact with the school for messages, for example, for booking onto Parents' Evening and things like that. Okay. That's about if you were able to come in and help in school. Obviously, we can't currently have lots and lots of visitors in school, but if you are able to volunteer to come in for the reading, or later in the year, I'm hoping I might get more of you in for some other activities I've got planned. But there's just some guidelines there, and obviously the most important one is about washing hands and staying distant. And that Wincham Family and Friends are our parents association, and if you want to get in contact with them, please support them if any events that they are able to run. They are very, very useful for us in terms of raising money for the school. We can't speak highly enough of how much they do for us. So they're always looking for more parents to get involved and help them run the events that they run, or just follow them on Facebook and support them in that way. Okay, this was on the bottom of your newsletter, so it's quite similar to what was on there, but it's just a summary of some things you can do to help your child at home. Okay, so there's some reading stuff at the top there, most of which we've already talked about. The handwriting bit at the bottom of that top half, and then in the bottom it's all about the number system. So don't worry too much about coins or measures or any of that stuff just yet. We're just going to concentrate on really understanding counting up and down and doing stuff like 1 more, 1 less, 10 more, 10 less. That's our big focus at the moment, to make sure everyone's really secure on that. Okay, there's an email address in the middle of the page there. for if you need to contact me, grasshoppers@wintoncp.cheshire.sc.uk, or come and see me in the mornings or after school when I'm at the gate. If it's in the mornings, I might not have that much time for a long conversation because obviously I've got to get the children in and start our day. But so after school is the best time if you can. But if you're not there because you're not able to be there for beginning or after school, then please just drop me an email or call the office or email the office. Okay, that was a whistle-stop tour of Grasshoppers class. So I'm just going to go into the meeting again and stop the recording. So thank you for your attendance. I'll just stop the